looks
with,
like.
and this meeting is being recorded. And with Dr. Tina Jackson on board, I want to give you an opportunity to say hello, share any coordinating board state mandate updates with us before we get started.
Sure. And I'm going to just let you all know, colleagues, my internet is saying it's unstable. I'm not sure why. This is the joy of being virtual. So I'm just sharing that just in case I have to drop unexpectedly. I want to thank all of you all. This will be our final meeting, and I'm so grateful for the work that you all have been engaged in over the past several months. As I see you coming on, thank you so much for the work that you're doing. As we wrap things up today, I'm excited about the work. It has exceeded our expectations of what we thought we would be able to do. And we are definitely excited because a lot of the work will allow for more teachers at the secondary level to be able to be certified to do some of the cybersecurity work that will lend really a lot of support.
I think
security and on the pathways at the level. So we're really excited about that work.
Tina,
and also,
your screen is freezing and we can't hear you. It might help to turn off your video.
Pieces.
You may need to post a chat message to see.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't do a chat.
Tina, can you hear me? You're frozen.
I can hear you.
It might help. You're frozen. It might help to turn off your video and rely on audio.
Can you all hear me?
We can hear you now.
I am so sorry. I have no idea what's going on, but you know what? It's fine because over the past 18 months, we have all experienced a lot of fun in this world called virtual Zoom / Team / all of the above. And I'm just grateful for the silver linings of learning how to adjust and keep moving forward. So with that, I was saying, and I don't know how much of what you all heard from me, that this will be the first pathway that has been created statewide for career and technical education in cybersecurity that will lead from the secondary level to the post-secondary level. And so congratulations to all of you all. We're excited about today, our final meeting, to wrap up the details and make sure that we do these the last details to pull forward and move forward the work. Also just wanted to excitingly say that this is a turning point for us because what we have accomplished will help our colleagues as we move forward to talk about the bachelor's degree and how this all complements what we've already begun. So know that this work is not in vain, colleagues. Know that this work supports one of the most critical economic needs, both for the qualified worker and for the security in private and public sector networks. So I'm excited about today. And I think I'm going to have to probably reboot my computer, so I will be off. But I want to thank all of you all colleagues for the work that you've been engaged in. And I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Zena Jackson. And also thank you, Dr. Zena Jackson. I don't see your co-chair right now, but I'd also like to thank him as well. Oh, Joe, there you are, Joe Sanchez. Thank you for serving as a co-chair, vice chair. And then also Dr. Gregory Newman, thank you for serving as secretary. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you and look forward to receiving the final report. Mindy Nobles has done an excellent job of pulling all of this together on the coordinating board side of the house, and Dwayne Hiller and Valerie. Thank you all also from the coordinating board team for all the work that you've been engaged in with this process. Thanks so much, Dr. Jackson.
Thank you, Dr. Tina Jackson. I appreciate your accolades, and I certainly share in your recognition of all of the work that all of the team has done, that they have rolled up their sleeves and we've just made it happen. I do want to say, before you all get too excited, we want this to be our last meeting, but we are anticipating we may have another meeting or two. But we are at the point now where we're just pulling in the last reports of information and doing our editing and wordsmithing to make sure that the final report and product that we submit to Dr. Jackson is one that we can all be proud of. And I think the work that we have done is something that we should all give ourselves a pat on the back. And I do want to say, just before we jump into the agenda, I do want to say thank you to Mindy, because Mindy has been dogged in keeping us on task and on target. And I appreciate that so very much. She brings a wealth of information to the team, and just helping us to stay focused on what our end goal is. And I would be really remiss. I don't know if I see Jennifer. Is Jennifer here? Jennifer came on late into the game.
There's
There you
Jennifer.
are, Jennifer. Jennifer came on late into the game, and boy, what a difference it made, because she stepped right in and helped us to get to where we are today. And so I do want to say thank you, Jennifer, for, taking what we were delivering to you and delivering back to us what was needed for the secondary side. And we appreciate that so very much.
No, thank you.
So I do believe we're ready to get into the agenda. And Mindy, do you want me to share, or do you have a final draft you want to share? You all should have received that this morning, and we were still updating and editing throughout the morning to make sure that we had all of those areas that we needed to cover today. And so first on our agenda is just an approval of the minutes. Dr. Newman has done a great job, but boy, all of you know that we've been having these side meetings that Mindy has scheduled for us, which has been great to keep us going and moving forward. And so I just need to say that Dr. Newman has gotten, he took a little bit of a vacation, got a little bit behind on the minutes, but Mindy, thank you, Mindy, for pulling those together and sending those out this morning or yesterday. So if you've not had a chance to take a look at those, if you can pull them up and take a peek. If you have taken a look and you don't have any problems with them, could we do an approval of the minutes? Let me just first see if there are any discussions or updates or corrections that we need to make. No?
I did receive one by email from Dr. Dickerson, who asked me to add her name to those present at the last meeting.
Okay.
One thing you might look at is to make sure that if you were there, you are counted as present.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Dickerson, for catching that. Any others? So could I get someone to offer a nomination approval of the minutes? Are you all on mute?
I move that we approve the minutes.
Thank you, Rod. Have a
This is
second?
Mary
second.
Dickerson. I will second.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Dickerson, for a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, thank you all so very much. The minutes are approved for July 14, 2021. First on our agenda is our Cyber Path Task Group report. And we don't have a name by that. Mindy, who's leading that discussion? Is that me?
We don't have a name by that. We haven't been putting discussion leaders on this agenda. It might expedite this particular moment in every meeting. Who has taken the lead on creation of the final recommendation? I know that Dr. Newman, Mr. Lopez, Ms. Orozco, Catherine Oser. Who would like to start this off?
While you all think about it, I will tell you that this team has done an awesome job of taking the curriculum that's available in the WECM, the courses, and creating these pathways for the high school students. And I think the end product is going to be a hoorah for everybody who's been involved, and especially for those high school students who will have that opportunity to pursue the credentials, certificates, and associate's degree moving forward. I know that Mr. Lopez, and I think he worked on the final document based on the early morning email I got this morning. And I don't know if he will discuss it or if Dr. Newman will.
Rick can pull it up. I
Okay.
think he did a phenomenal job. Again,
And
a lot
could
of
we, let me ask you this, could we explain the context, perhaps with Edith contributing? We have, this task group has begun with an already developed curriculum that is a P-TECH early college high school curriculum. It incorporates work of the subcommittees and, this curriculum is consistent with work of the subcommittees. And I believe consistent with the CERT 1 that you all approved last time. From that curriculum that Edith was gracious to share, a pullout of the task group worked on what Gregory and Rick will talk about now.
Okay, I will, can I share my screen here?
Please, do you have the ability to share?
Yeah, let me see if I can find this.
Valerie, can you make Rick able to share?
Be able to share. Everybody has the capability to share.
Okay.
Okay, let me go pull this
Down
up.
at the bottom, you should have a share screen button.
Okay, can you see that? It's an Excel spreadsheet.
we can
Yes,
see
sir.
Okay, what we did is,
It would help if you would enlarge it maybe to 120.
okay. How's that?
Much better.
Okay. After Monday's discussion about how we were aligning to several colleges, we went back to see all the work that we have done thus far and gathering data, gathering the top 6 PLOs. So we went to verify 4 major community colleges: Dallas, which is Dallas Community College, and then Cullen County, Alamo Community Colleges, and Central Texas, to see, okay, did we miss something, or did we capture the core? Because there was some conversation about courses that were not going to be accepted to specific colleges. So we went back to verify that, and the colleges vary. And I think Troy said on Monday, even St. Philip's College and San Antonio College in the level 1 certificate vary, and we're in the same city. So what I did is I looked at those 4 colleges, the level 1 certificates for cyber, and they range from 16 hours to 36. So you can see that there's emphasis that's relative to their environment. And certainly Dallas has an advantage because of the core of corporations that are situated in Dallas. So you can see that theirs is a little bit more precise than some of the others. So
Rick,
after
Rick, I don't mean to step on you. Can you showcase that on the screen?
Yeah.
I think that's under the PLO. Where right now we're looking at the level 1 proposed certificate.
Okay, here's
Perfect. Thank you.
Here's the colleges by level 1 certificates. So we just went to go see, okay, is there a core that we're all teaching? And there's Linux, there's introduction to cybersecurity, there's firewalls, there's networking. So we went through that and said, okay, we're capturing the core. The other thing that we emphasized when gathering this data is input from the team saying introduction fundamentals. So we said, okay, then we got to capture that in our fundamentals. And that's what we did. So when we go back to the level 1, you see that we have captured that. We've captured the core. We've captured some of the things that we were talking about relative to when a high school student gets into this program. Something that captured a lot of conversation was the introduction to PC maintenance and software. Now, some colleges expect that to have already happened by the time they get to the level 1 certificate, but that depends on the school, the high school. So what we have here, based on input, based on validation of the 4 major cities and community colleges level 1, based on the emphasis on introduction, based on, hey, we want to get them at least ready. This is what the team is recommending for adoption to the level 1 certificate. Now, there was also discussion on Monday about extending that into level 2 and extending that into a full AAS. Now, Mindy and Dr. Jackson, that's going to be impossible to do in 2 days. That's going to take more work. So what I am proposing is, based on validation of the data that we've already gathered, the PLOs that we set in place, the introductory and fundamental courses, I am proposing that we adopt and begin with the level 1, and then we'll continue to work in the other 2. But that's going to take more work. So that's my summary. That's my recommendation to this committee.
And I have a question, Rick. If we meet another time, can model level 2 and AAS, including possibly those groupings of courses we talked about?
Yes.
Could that be done in time for a final meeting in August?
I think so. I mean, we have the core data,
Yeah.
and we blew it out to the AAS. The challenge became not the information that we had at a college level, it's TEA. TEA is more detailed in their PLOs, their courses include much more delivery than the college courses. So that's going to be the challenge.
Okay. And to make this work, this does need to be compatible to the extent possible with the secondary POS. And we need Jennifer involved in this work as she was with the Cert 1. Jennifer,
Yes.
can you comment or add information?
Nothing to add. My goal, I'm thinking of it more like if the secondary side has several standards, to me, it seems easier to map to college than more difficult. So it shouldn't, it's just a matter of if we've hit, I guess what's going to be the difficult part is if 2 things are split into 2 different specific courses, and that covers 1 high school course, because that's the issues I
Right.
run into as a teacher, right? But we can always, if we find that, we need to split out courses or make different courses. But yeah, I mean, besides that, no comment. I think with the courses that are available, we can make it happen. Just have to maybe tweak some things here and there.
Now, one other
So
thing I want
part
to
of this
mention,
work will be those recommendations to the TEKS committee at TEA
right,
about modifications to make to the courses.
and now one more thing, Mindy and Dr. Jackson, and I want to certainly validate this. The level 1 certificate is a template. It's a recommendation. So I want to make sure that the entire committee understands that we are not putting this in concrete and saying you must do this. This is an outline. And like I said, we've captured 90% of what is required for the colleges.
So that's a really good point, and that's something that we, from the onset when we talked about the level 1 certificate, it was a template to give those high schools and those colleges that didn't already have an option on in their database of curriculum, their programs, give them that option of offering that level 1 certificate. And so the work that you all have done in creating that sets into motion for basically all of those colleges that don't have a level 1 certificate in cybersecurity available for students to be able to offer it. And we were also specific that it wasn't just for high schools, that it could be even for the college students who are attending that institution. And I
Would it,
I'm sorry, go ahead. Jennifer.
would it be applicable to take like what we're looking at on the screen and possibly either example and any other iterations that we come up with and just develop example figures in the white paper? So if a school needs to just sift through a white paper, the white paper rather quickly just to get to the figures to say, here's, 4 examples of what you could do and the outcomes already mapped to existing and prevalent college courses, but then indicate, again, this is just merely an example, work with your local college and develop, the path with which you best seek, right?
I don't know if that's it looks like Dr. Newman is saying yes, we could do that. You're on mute, no?
Yeah, I think that's something we can do in the documentation, but I also want to chime in on one of the things about I liked about the level 1 certificate. We speak of our high school partners, but this level 1 certificate would also allow other colleges to get into the game of offering a cyber program.
Mm-hmm.
These are not really, these courses don't really, other than the Cisco course, they don't really require heavy on the labs. Skill sets are different. You got to have the faculty to teach them, but there's other ways that they can adopt those online, partnering in particular other institutions. So this is, to me, is a win-win for both, not just the high school, also other colleges and wanting to get into the cybersecurity game.
So one of the things that I know that we keep talking about in the meetings, the side meetings that addresses the level 1, level 2, and associate's degree are the PLOs and the SLOs. And so I really need to get those so that we will have those as an appendix in the final report.
And we can distribute those to you.
Okay, great. That would be great. And I guess when I get this information, if I have that as well, that'll help me to begin to craft it and into the document that we're putting together.
And
Okay, I'll send that up.
Yeah.
to piggyback Gregory as well, we might want to call attention to going back to the faculty decision that the level 1 certificate is also a certificate that teachers can obtain and learn from somebody else. So that way a college can bring that person on and integrate them as well, both on, whether they're going to a high school and teaching and staying at the college, or kids are coming to there, however, which way it works. But to make sure and reveal that as well, that if you're, if they're having faculty issues, get them this, or, get the teachers this certificate, and it only assists them further in growing those programs.
Like that.
And question, does that need to go in the certifications or credentials table, Zena?
We can add a statement there to that effect, but we can also expound on it in the report
Yes,
when we place this in the report.
okay.
I want to circle back around to a question that Mindy had in terms of really, I think the question is, how long do you think it would take you to work together as a team to arrive at the level 2 in the AAS degree?
I'm going to say a couple of weeks. Do you agree with that, Dr. Newman?
Yeah, I mean, if you go back to Rick, can you go to the Texas CCC level comparison? I don't think we're too far, team. I think we all
This one.
go, no, the other one, not the PLO, the tech, when you do the comparison. I just want to showcase this.
Yeah, this one. Yeah.
The grades are things that we all are doing in our programs. So I don't think I think 2 weeks is a doable, projection on being able to do a level 2 in AAS. A lot of things we are consistently doing. We may have a different name, a different rubric, but we're pretty consistent.
So Dr. Newman, is that in pulling this together over the next 2 weeks, is that you'll take the lead? Do you want Mindy and I to work with you all to pull you together like we did before?
Yeah, we like you guys to get involved. You have a way of just whooping us in shape.
Yeah, I blame Mindy, but
Nah, I blame both of you guys. Y'all have a way of just, popping the whip, get in shape, get in line.
okay, so what we'll do is we'll get together, we'll start Mindy and work with Mindy, and also kudos to her team in helping us to get the doodle polls out so that we can find times that work for the majority to meet. And we would just ask for you to be really open-minded, because we do have an end goal in mind, and this would secure us in having met the charges for this work group. So over the next couple of weeks, if we can, I guess, put in 2 more meetings with that team, would that work? And then any side conversations you all will need, you'll have those, Zoom, Teams, email, calls.
I mean, again, Dr. Jackson, Dean Jackson, a lot of this information we already have. It's just us coming together and putting together. I mean, the team has done a phenomenal job. And again, Dr. Olson, she's not on, Rick, Jennifer, all of them have done a phenomenal job. So it won't take us too big.
Okay.
Okay, I will get email out to you guys and query through a doodle poll quickly. Who's in this meeting? Zena, Greg, Rick, Jennifer, Catherine. Who else was involved in this? Edith?
Edith.
Edith.
Rod, Rick. Did you say Rick?
Rick's on.
Okay.
Was Troy involved in the meeting?
He was on Monday, but he hasn't been in the longer meetings.
All right.
Okay. So the people who worked on your work here that we're seeing were Greg, Rick, Jennifer, Catherine, Edith, and Rod, correct? Okay. All right. Okay. We will act on that this afternoon.
Take in mind, Mindy, that Edith is leaving Friday for 2 weeks. So.
Oh, taking vacation?
Yeah. She's abandoning us.
She's not taking a laptop. You don't have a cell.
There's gonna be no Wi-Fi. There's no Wi-Fi where I'm gonna be at.
Oh, how convenient. Yes.
We've already given Edith a hard time about that 2-week vacation. We
sure have. I don't know how administrative, but you must got a great staff, Edith. I commend you.
I don't know where she's going, but she's going to unplug the Wi-Fi router.
Hey, we can send you one, Edith, if you don't have one.
That's all right. I don't think it'll be compatible.
Edith, you're going to have to trust us. Do you trust us?
I trust you. Y'all have Rick there with y'all, so I trust you.
Okay.
Everybody's working good. So far, so good.
Anybody you want to throw in as a sub? You want us to have them there, Troy, or?
Yeah, I would probably. I can reach out to Troy and let him know too.
He's here.
And see if he's available?
I can do that if y'all want me there.
Okay, that would be great.
Thanks.
Okay.
Oh, there's Troy. There he is.
Yeah, thanks, Troy, for not going on vacation for 2 weeks.
I have written Troy's name down. It is etched in stone. Troy, you're in. Don't try to get out.
Thank you, Troy. And Edith,
We're
you have a
locking
great
the
time.
gate.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hey, Dr.
Okay.
Jackson and Mindy, I have a question.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Angel.
In the meeting a couple of days ago, I sort of heard that the professors have to have a master's degree in the subject matter that they teach. Did I hear that correctly?
No, not particularly in these courses that we're talking about, and we're going to cover that in the white paper.
Okay.
But no.
All right. Okay, cool. I know that in some states, and I mentioned this in the past, but I know that in some states, I'm not sure about Texas, they are allowing industry professionals that want to start teaching their trade, but do not have a teaching credential. They are allowing them to teach in public schools for about, I think, depending on the state, 3 to 4 years, giving them time to then get their teaching credentials. Is that the case in Texas?
This is Josh Beck, and yes, it is. You have to be a district of innovation, and you're able to do that with industry experience. They have to get their teaching certification within 1 year.
Within 1 year. Gotcha.
That's correct here in Texas, yes.
Okay.
I believe for dual credit purposes, we would need to have an instructor of record who is credentialed consistently with SACSOC guidelines.
And there was a grant, I want to just say that there was a grant that several institutions participated in, were selected. In our area, UTA has partnered with UT Arlington, and high school teachers who want to be credentialed to teach dual credit courses, most of these are core courses, are receiving funding to take those courses at the University of Texas at Arlington to be eligible to teach those courses. And so that's across the state.
Yeah, Zena, that was a grant that the agency put out, the Texas Education Agency put out, and we awarded 8 of those across the state, and it was a triad collaboration between the 4-year who would offer the graduate coursework to ensure they met the SACS credentialing, and the 2-year who would be hiring the teacher as an adjunct for that. And it was mostly for the ACGM courses because the WECM courses credentialing is a little different with the experience. So we haven't cracked that, how to figure out the WECM courses. But if districts have a way and they have teachers, then they can participate in that for WECM. We did not limit it to that, but those grants did come from our agency, and we're releasing more of those grants.
So the work that we're doing may somehow roll into those grant opportunities for those teachers who don't have the academic credentials to be able to teach these courses, such as the cybersecurity courses. So what we're saying is, if they pursued our level 1 certificate or this level 1 certificate, then they could be credentialed to teach those courses at the high school. So that's a grant opportunity in and of itself, but a whole nother subcommittee, work group, team, not ours, but hopefully something that would generate from that. And thank you for sharing that information. I just know that we're working directly with UTA. We provided for them the coursework that we thought the teachers would need at UTA for whatever discipline to be credentialed to teach our ACGM courses. Okay, any discussions on that, Mindy?
Well, if the work group has any discussion, let us have that. I have a question, but I will ask it when we finish this thread.
Any questions for the work group?
I have a procedural question, and it's about the Cert 1, just to come back to that. Did we not adopt this 18-hour Cert 1 at our last meeting?
No, we did not.
Oh, we did adopt, we may not have adopted this version, but we did adopt the level 1 certificate.
Okay, then we're going to need, if this is, okay, if the task group is then recommending this 18-hour Cert 1, and I remember that we did workshop this a little bit at the task group meeting, for it to become a product of the committee, we're going to have a motion, a second, discussion, and a vote.
Okay, I motion to accept this level 1 certificate.
We have a second.
I'll second.
I'll second.
Okay, Troy first, he second. Discussion? No discussion, no questions. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I think it passes, Mindy.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that. And I have to ask, may I have a copy of this, please? I
Yeah, I'll
don't
send
think
it
I
to you,
have
Mindy.
this in my file. Thank you. Thank you.
In that, we'll have the PLOs that Dr. Jackson was requesting as well. So you'll be able
Great.
to see that.
Okay.
And will there be student learning outcomes as well?
Yes.
Okay, great.
We can get that in there, yes.
Okay, thank you. We want to make sure
You
that.
guys are great. Many thanks.
Okay. I believe we're ready to move on to the, I think we've just done this, discussion and consideration of the final secondary, post-secondary pathway recommendation. And we know that we still have a little bit more work to do, that we have a team that will work on that.
Okay, work group, I'm going to set up one more meeting in August. It will be, what will the date be? Let me take a look here. It will be August 11th. We'll just keep this same meeting time. And let's see if we can finish up all work on that date. Those of us involved in task group work will do double time on that.
I believe you all should already have that on your calendar, because we extended just in case we needed a couple of extra meetings, we went ahead and put it on the calendar.
Yes, we did. Very good. Very good.
So.
Okay, you have it on your calendars. Thank you, Zena.
Perfect.
And thank you, Valerie, in the background. Valerie's the one who keeps us all scheduled.
Thank you, Valerie. On the white paper, the final report from our task group, I'm going to share my screen with you. I was communicating with Mindy until the late evening of late evening and then early this morning. So I appreciate her patience. I think I had one eye open when I was typing my response to her.
And I think you worked 2 hours after our last communication, at least.
I had a couple of projects, draft proposals that I had to finish up, and so that kept me busy. I'm sorry, I'm trying to make sure I get the right one.
And will we need to share screen on the
I'll share
draft?
my screen.
Okay.
I'm just pulling it up so that it's viewable. Okay. Share my screen. Are you all able to see that?
Yes.
It is?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Now, this
Okay,
is the version I sent out this morning, correct?
so maybe. Hold on one second. Did you update it with Michelle's information?
No, I did not.
Okay. I think
So if you've updated it, that would be inclusive then.
okay, no, I haven't. I had a couple of questions before I updated it.
Okay, very good. Okay, so that's what I sent out this morning.
Yeah, it's the one that you sent out. So the first thing I want to tell you is that a good portion of this information is the summary report that Mindy sent to us when we first started as a work team. And so in getting started, it just made sense to build upon what she submitted to us. I think that she created for this particular work group. And so a lot of what you see here is exactly what you should have already seen. And so I'll just try to skip to some of the areas that really resonate the work that we've been doing as a team, and just to give you an opportunity to share if you see something that just doesn't look right or that we need to expound upon. Our focus, the entirety of our focus almost has been focused on recommendation number 4 of Senate Bill 64 for the work group that worked on it before us. And of course, to ensure a clear articulation pathway from high school to college. And so that's the work that we have been doing so far. I worked on a little bit of a work group charge here and did just a little bit of wordsmithing there. Added some information here based on the subcommittee work that we were all assigned to. And so you'll see that represented in this information in this section. We have a little statement about the committee representation. We'll expand on that, and later in the document, we've got the updated work group team listed as an appendix. I put it as Appendix A. And then the team that was charged with looking at the white paper each contributed to this information. And so the faculty teacher credentialing, I've noted, so the question came up about the credentials that are required. We've added this statement here. We have the Appendix B. Close your eyes if you get vertigo. I'm going to scroll down to Appendix B because I want to be able to address that. And so this is our credentialing chart that we put together and that we shared at one of our previous meetings. Again, another sub-team met to discuss specifically the teaching requirements, both on the college side and on the secondary side. And so we think that this is a good representation. We all came to an agreement that the language supports what would be necessary and required for individuals to be able to teach these courses. So I do want to go back to
Can I interject there for a second?
Yeah, let me finish before you ask your question, because I think we're probably on the same page. I do want to say, Angel, that these courses here that you see where it says a master's degree, these are academic courses or ACGM courses. These are not WECM technical courses.
Okay.
Across the state, if you're teaching these courses, you must have a master's degree.
Okay.
The reason we left these courses in this chart, the reason we didn't just exclude all the ACGM, because in an AAS degree, you must have at least 15 hours. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mindy, Dwayne. You must have 15 ACGM courses in the degree program. And so the schools, the colleges can choose what those 15 hours are. Knowing that an AAS will require those courses, we left these in because these are the most popular core transfer courses that students would take to transfer to a university. So where you see master's degree or higher, it's because it's an academic course. It's found in the ACGM, a transfer course that transfers to a university.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so where you see the technical courses or where you see a designation of T that's for technical, then you will see that minimally at the college level to teach that course, the requirement is an associate's degree or higher. And so we left that in there. The one area that we removed was the 3 years of work experience, recognizing that at some colleges, they may have 3 years, they may have 1 year. The coordinating board does not designate how many years of experience is required. What the coordinating board says is an associate's degree and demonstrated competencies in the teaching field. And so going in line with what the coordinating board says for the high school teacher at the secondary level, we then identified what those competencies might be. And so we listed CompTIA, we listed Cisco, we listed Linux. It may be some other credential that the college would accept from that high school teacher that would credential them to be able to teach. So by not narrowing the focus, we're leaving it broad enough for the college and the high school to work in tandem of achieving the goal of having a credentialed faculty member to teach those courses. The only change for the technical courses is this ITCC course. And that's because it is a vendor specific course. So let's say Cisco is a fact for this course, if they're teaching Cisco, then not just anyone can teach the course, even if you have the minimum credentials, because the vendor requires you to have their vendor credential to be able to teach it. So we updated this particular course to reflect that it is vendor based and it requires vendor certification to be able to teach it. And that's to make sure that a high school teacher doesn't get started teaching that course and the college who has not had a cybersecurity program and does not realize it, that they have not paid attention to the fact that a high school or actually no faculty can teach that course unless they have the vendor certification. And in this case, this is an either or. So on the curriculum that we were just shown, the program, so the school could opt for this ITCC course, or they would opt for, I think, an ITNW course.
That's correct.
Okay. And so as you go through the chart, you will see these statements consistently posted. We decided to leave them all there as opposed to saying in one block, all ITSC, ITSD, ITNW, because we need for the high schools and for the colleges to know that these are separate courses and you need to make sure that you're in line with the requirements as posted. You'll see further down, these are, again, we start with the ACGM courses, but then there are a couple of other courses here that I left in because in some cases, there may be a need to offer a technical business or BMGT course in the curriculum. It would be an option for the school to do. All the others are ACGM courses requiring a master's degree. And that way, by leaving it in, there's no confusion at the high school or the college level that if they offer these courses in an AAS degree, that they would be, those faculty who teach it would be required to have the master's degree. So Angel, did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Okay, great. Are there any questions before I scroll back up? Okay, so I'll scroll back up and where were we? Okay, so we were right there. Because we spent a great deal of time talking about what a bridge program would look like, one of our team members, Kim, put together just a brief summary for us to address what that would look like in this in this model that we are creating. And again, this is our first draft, so we still have some work to do, and we recognize that. And we certainly can send it out to you all, or no, you already have it because Mindy sent it out this morning. So whatever other feedback you might want to give, additions, edits, deletions, feel free to reach out to me and Mindy to let us know. We just talked about this high school pathway. And so what I've left in red, we had a lot of green and a lot of red going on in the document, but I left this in just as a reminder that this one's not done and we're still working on it. Joe took on the responsibility for addressing this section of the report, the post-program employment. Obviously did a great job. I just made a little note for myself to ask him, are we using the right word here? Situation versus background. There may be another summary word that we want to use to address what he's explaining here. And I'll just scroll. Joe, do you want to give a brief summary of the section that you wrote on?
I don't believe Joe is still present.
Okay.
He was not feeling well and he wanted to be here to at least start the meeting, but he did email and say that he might have to drop off.
Okay. I'm sorry to hear that.
So we can follow up.
He did a great job in pulling all of this information in materials for us to review. Again, it's open for us to discuss and for us to have communication on if anything has been left out of this section that you think is important. But he was pretty comprehensive in what he provided. He also did this in industry accepted certifications section. Nikki, you did this section, right? Is Nikki here? No? Can you see if Nikki's here? See if mine's...
Nikki is not present.
She was at a
teaching today.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Yes.
She was at a conference.
Yes.
So she pulled this information together, and so I've just plopped it in there. And then when we talked about it, because we had a pre-meeting, so we had a chance to talk about it, we went a little further into talking about the need to list examples. So the reason you see that here is for us to go back and add some concrete examples that address some of what she's talked about. She reiterated strongly what a concern is, that at the schools, the students are prevented, at some schools, the students are prevented from having access to YouTube. And YouTube today is such a valuable instrument in a positive way for faculty and teachers in delivering content and information and videos to students. But at the high schools, at some of the high schools, the schools block that opportunity for students to have access. And so we noted that that's something that we needed to address in this report, because there will be instances where students will need to have access to YouTube because that's where some of the content is. And sometimes faculty will create their own YouTube pages and put the information up there. So we know that that is an area for concern and for us to address. Funding, we recognize that we really don't have a lot to say over funding, and that was kind of our first thought, that we didn't have any authority over funding. But as we began to discuss it a little bit more, we took it from a different approach in how we can make sure that there are funds available, much like the TEA grants that are there for the university partners to work with the colleges and high schools. How do we get funding for teachers to be trained, to get teachers to have release time, to perhaps to even get funding, such as I mentioned before, to get the level 1 certificate where they don't have to pay out of their pocket, or go get those certifications that would credential them to be able to teach these courses, whether it's CompTIA or Cisco. So we left that in, and we recognize that that's an area that we need to solidify a little bit more and really expand on. And so, Stacy, what I'll probably do is use that example that you talked about for the grants that have been given to the universities to work with high school teachers for dual credit.
And I have a question, Stacy. What funding source did you use to support that grant?
State funding.
Okay, state funded. Okay,
Yep.
so did you get a special legislative item for that, or did you budget it out of general revenue? I'm just
We
curious.
budgeted it out of one of our riders.
Great. Okay. Great. Okay. Thanks.
So we may need to work closely with Stacy, because she seems to have a lot of knowledge about that we could create some language to go into this section that would support, you know, our recommendation of some kind of funding to help support the teachers in getting the training that they need to be not just credentialed, but even credentialed on an even more advanced level. So that would be great. We still need to do a little bit more work on the approval of work group deliverables, and I'll work with Mindy on that. The timeline that's here is what was in the original document, and it's pretty on target with the work that we've been doing, but we also need to update it just a little bit, because we've done a lot of work that's not represented here that we want to plug in. Let's see where we are. And then obviously our last point is, and I don't have it here, is to have kind of a summary of all of the work that we have with the final recommendation. And in part that will come with the information that I received from the CyberPath team. I think we said we were going to call it Texas CyberPath.
I think we did.
Hey, I got a question. First, a comment. This is a very detailed, extensive document. Great job, guys and team. This is really good. Since Texas is really, you know, pushing that work-based learning and apprenticeships and internships, should we add a statement into this document to address that? Because HB 1247 and HB 4361 really addresses related to experiential learning in our internships and apprenticeships.
Absolutely.
And the reason why I'm saying that, I'm noticing just in the past 3 weeks how that apprenticeship and internships are picking up among industries as we come out of going into another COVID pandemic. Now those industry leaders are looking for that talent. Give you examples. We just signed up with Cisco, one of 2 colleges. They're going to provide them with apprenticeships, and they're going to take 10 students per semester, run them through their program. They're just one, and we can't provide that Cisco with that level of talent each semester, because we don't graduate. We're not going to graduate 20 students per semester. So it's maybe an opportunity for us to really focus in on apprenticeships and internships, and maybe get some assistance from the state to really help drive that. The more we have those students with hands-on experience, greater chance of them to transition into the workforce will be even more successful.
That's a good
So
point.
that's Dr. Newman, that's a big yes for me in terms of recommendation. The only thing that I would caution is that if we include it in the wording, that it should be in a way that it says where it's not limited to quote unquote internship. There are different types of work-based learning experiences that it doesn't have to be just an internship, because if we do that, then we're going to limit the amount of internships that are going to be available, because not every company and corporation is willing to do internships.
Totally agree with you, Angel. That's why you my mentor in that area.
And Gregory,
That's why Angel is going. We're gonna send 10 students to Angel company to in the summer.
Hey, we can do a lot more than that.
I don't have that many Angel.
Gregory, remind me of the bill number again.
Minnie, I got something you don't remember. I got something on you now, huh?
I got all kinds of things I don't remember. What?
HB 1247 Work-Based Learning Strategy Framework.
1247. We analyzed that bill and followed it. I don't remember that it limits the kinds of work-based learning. I think it recognizes multiple sorts of work-based learning. And that will be an effort between coordinating board and TWC, I believe.
Yeah.
Actually, Mindy, this is the tri-agency work, and there are subcommittees working on that. And I know that Amy from your agency and a couple other people from your agency are on those subcommittees that have been meeting regularly now since before session ended.
Okay, this was the tri-agency bill?
1247, yes.
That's correct. Now,
That's the tri-agency bill.
Another work-based learning bill. Before I go ahead and talk, let me just find it. Okay.
There's another one, Mindy, HB 4361, off-campus workforce education. That allows institutions to enter an agreement with employees to provide non-credit off-campus.
Yes.
What is that again, Dr. Newman? HB what?
HB 4361.
Okay, well, and let me not sidetrack the conversation. I was just trying to remember what and where.
What's the third agency?
TWC.
TEA, THECB, and TWC.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's been a tri-agency initiative for years that the governor directed the agencies to work together on, and he directs the work of that. And this bill then also directed. So there's many facets to what the tri-agency is working on.
So are you on that, Stacy, are you on one of the subcommittees?
Yes, I'm on the work-based learning subcommittee.
So we have somebody that we can go to, right?
Sure, we don't have anything. We're kind of where this committee was a few meetings ago. We're talking about a lot of things. If you think of it as a funnel, we started out with the big top and we're kind of funneling it down to then develop the framework for work-based learning and trying to meet the needs of, imagine trying to meet the needs of K-12, higher ed, and workforce commission. Not easy work. So that's what we're doing right now.
So it sounds like almost, we could add a statement, but there's not much more we could add. If you all are doing work, it would have to be a reference to what recommendation comes from your work team eventually.
I'm sorry, that face wasn't for you. There's some other things going on. Can you repeat that, Dr. Jackson?
I said that it sounds like the work that your team is doing for that House bill is something that we would mention, but we really couldn't define anything because it's going to be based on what comes from your committee.
Right. So I think you could definitely mention that HB 1247 exists and the tri-agency is developing a work-based learning strategic framework.
Now, this doesn't come under the Tri-Agency Workforce Initiative 3767. This is, the title of this bill was Work-Based Learning Strategic Framework or something like that. But it also requires the three agencies to work in tandem.
So, Mindy, the caption is the development of and report on a tri-agency work-based learning strategic framework.
Okay.
So it is the tri-agency.
It is under the aegis of tri-agency.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Otherwise, I've been sitting in the wrong meeting for the last several months.
No, because we had 3767 too, which established tri-agency workforce initiatives. So, okay, all right.
Okay. Well,
that's where I was mixing up. But
Let me read
enough
it
of
to
that,
you,
it needs to be
Stacy.
in there. Yes. And it needs to tie into the 1247 work.
Mm-hmm. I'll reach out to Stacy to get a viable statement for this section.
Sounds good.
Mm.
I have a suggestion too. We've talked about the need for OER, open educational resources,
Right.
to support cybersecurity, and have talked with our digital learning division about this. There should be policy statement on that too, or recommendations on that too.
Okay, I'll work with you on that. And is that in the context of we want there to be an option for those schools to not have to purchase textbooks, that we are saying that use of OERs is acceptable in the curriculum? When we add that, what's our message about the OERs? So OERs, for those of you who don't know, it's open educational resources. So they're free to be utilized in the classroom. And I don't know how, is that an option for TEA? I mean, if we offer dual credit, we offer OER as an option, but we have to be very careful that we're not using something, that the faculty aren't using something that's going to incite a riot, if you will. Do you know, Stacy, Jennifer, about OERs and how those are utilized in the?
Yeah, so for K-12, we actually have a process for instructional materials adoption that goes through our elected state board of education. So OER is really specific to those college classes, and K-12 doesn't really have say in the materials used in those college classes. Even if the high school teacher is teaching dual credit, that's all done in collaboration with the college. So I think for right now, that would really be specific to the college courses, which is what a dual credit course is. It's a college course that you get high school credit for.
Then we can add a statement with that. I think that's pretty consistent. That might be changing at some point, but we can add a statement. Okay, other thoughts, other areas that you think maybe we have not touched on that we need to include in the document?
And I just want to reiterate that Michelle did make an 11th hour contribution
Right.
that would add some additional background to the summary that we prepared, that a former, colleague at TEA helped us work on. And we'll review that and have a look at that and make recommendations on that subsequent. We just didn't have time to add it to this.
And I would say you still have time to go back and look at the document, just peruse it and give us your feedback, so that if there are some areas that you believe we've omitted, certainly we've done a lot of work. We've had lots of discussions. We want to try to capture as much as we can, especially if it's going to add value to our recommendation, our final recommendations. So please take a look at that and send us your feedback. We would appreciate it. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And so we're right about on time. Discussion and consideration of report draft. So Mindy, tell me what we are thinking in that agenda item. You want me to share my screen?
I think we covered it. We have discussed the report draft. Is there, and we discussed additions to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should just call for any further comment. And I think we will have covered this. We're not ready to consider adopting it yet.
No.
Consideration implies that there's going to be a vote on.
Okay. So we still have some work to do, as I've acknowledged, and we will continue to, while the Texas CyberPath team continues their work, the white paper team will continue ours. And so we'll
Do we need to meet as a group, or are you and I ready to do some wordsmithing?
I believe you and I are ready to do some wordsmithing.
Okay, and I asked you by email earlier this morning to let me know your available time. So
Okay.
you just get back to me when you're ready and we'll set something up.
Sure, I can do that.
Okay, very good.
New business remaining task summary. I feel like we've already covered that because we have, of course, our Texas CyberPath team that's going to continue their work. And I don't, other than Mindy and I getting together to try to solidify the report, the white paper, I don't know that there's any additional work that we need to focus on or assign. And everybody takes a big, deep breath.
We're very near the end, folks.
We're very near the end.
Is there anything else that anyone believes we should discuss as a specific topic at next week's, at the August 11 meeting?
Just as a reminder, both documents that are being worked on will need to go to our leadership for approval before adoption. So we'll need time to make sure that they have time to look at it.
Okay. How will this work then? This committee will meet on August 11. How much lead time does TEA need to have before it can sign off?
Yeah, Mindy, why don't we talk offline about some different timelines and who at TEA? And, you know, if our leadership doesn't agree, then what that means. So let's have that conversation offline so we can problem solve.
Okay, I think we'll need to, because we're working in tandem, but the plan was that we would agree and then the two agencies would, you know, do their approval work and all that following this committee acting. So are you saying that TEA would like to have the opportunity to approve what we're doing before the committee approves it?
No, I think what we're saying is we want to look at the white paper, and our leadership will want to review to make sure that that's all in alignment with their thinking and approved and those kind of things. So again, let's have the conversation offline so we can work out those details, Mindy.
I will email who needs to be in this meeting. I will email Zena, you, Stacy. Who else?
Sure, let's start there and we'll work from there.
Okay. All right, we will then hope to wrap this up on August 11th. I feel that we can have documents for this agency to approve, review and consider approving on that date. And you already have that on your calendar. Zena, I will just throw this to you. If we have no other business, we may let class out early.
So just before we let class out early, I just want to make sure we have no other business. There are no questions for us. No additional comments. Obviously, Mindy and I are always available for emails, so feel free to reach out to us. And we'll continue our work, and we'll meet with Stacy and team with TEA to see what next steps needs to be to address their needs. And looking forward to hearing back from the Texas CyberPath team. You all have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone, sincerely.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.